you're a father, right? What is it like being a father and living in Japan? Well, you know, being a father is freaking amazing. I mean, if you're not, you know, it's one of those experiences that you're missing out on if you haven't had it. And unless you've had it, you don't know what you're missing. I'm very lucky to have two amazing boys, and they're so different, and they're just these amazing, complicated little guys, and I hope they turn out to have the same opportunities of me, or actually more, right, in education and everything else. And in regards to Japan, I really love Japan. Japan, it's an amazing society, and I'm so glad that I moved here in 2004 to try to make a go of it. And you know, I came here with no money, to be honest with you. Not like I have a lot of money now, but I don't. Let's face it. I'm just as poor as anyone else out there struggling at this time, and so that's I don't know. That's my story, and I love it here. I think they've got. Why do I love it? Okay, they've got the amazing healthcare service. I can go to. It's like a PPO, an indemnity plan. We don't have in the States anymore. Indemnity plans. You go to any doctor, you know, any specialist, anything you want. You don't need a referral, and your insurance is covered. And you know, the national health insurance plan that they have here, I pay about $100 a month for it, and I have an indemnity plan. Not only that, I get dental with it too. And they pay like 70 to 80% dental. What we call senpai is a dentist, and dentists for some reason are really rich in Japan. So if you're going to be in Japan, the dentist is the thing. Every dentist that I know and my friends know are just filthy rich. You know, he does all the work for me. You know, he basically eats the expense. So I get free dental. Imagine living in a country with free dental. You know, healthcare is great, but you know, having free dental to take care of your teeth is even better. So, and you know, look at my wife is freaking amazing and tremendous and supportive, and she's you know, she's the, you know, she's like the nicest and kindest when she gets buzzed. So whenever she's upset, I just say, drink a few beers, and she likes, you know. And then she's the super nicest, and she's sexy, and she's beautiful, and she's an amazing mom. I mean, she's like the perfect woman. I mean, you know, there's not much more I would wish in her. And she's beautiful. She's so smart, but she never went to college. I mean, she's so smart. And she has this determination and willpower, and this amazing ability with other people, and she has this. You know, she's the highest, one of the highest level positions in her company. Her company is a pretty big damn company, right? As a woman, you don't get ahead as a woman in Japan. But to her, kudos, she has. She still makes significantly less than a man at her level, right? And she doesn't get all the crazy bonus because she lives in a. But she's you know, money to us really isn't that important. You know, I always tell, as long as I have enough to go to sushi and buy a beer once in a while, and you know, I'm fine. I'm not like, hey, I want to travel around and go to vacations and all these places. I want to be with my kids, and you know, I want to be with my wife. I've traveled around the world. I've had that experience. I've seen everything for the most part, and everything is grass and everything is dirt, no matter where it is. I don't care, you know. And to me, what's important is family and being with those that you love and doing what you love. And I've got all three. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? 5 years from now, I would like to be traveling around, helping entrepreneurs, right, launch their business. I'd like to be, you know, 5 years from now, I think OIF will have been really validated and spread around, and we'll be a $1 trillion company. I don't know, billion up there. And ultimately, I'm actually going the wrong way here. I gotta turn around. What I want is to help people with their ideas, right? Ultimately. That's I'm a creator. Okay, if you something called wealth dynamics or something, and I only discovered this last year. All right, I'm a wealth creator, not wealth creator. I'm a wealth creator. Well, and wealth dynamics. There's something called a creator profile. I call them the archetypes of the entrepreneur archetypes. And maybe they use that same term. That's where I got it from. I don't know. But as an archetype, I'm a creator, and I only discovered that last year. And ultimately, what I want to do is help other individuals to, be prosperous and to get a life, to live their dream. I mean, life is too short not to be with who you want to be, not to be doing what you want to be, right? Doing and enjoying yourself. And I think that right now there's this massive imbalance where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And I think I have a solution for that. I mean, my passion is tackling massive problems and developing solutions. And I believe I have such a solution, right? And that solution is basically, you know what? I went the wrong way again. I'm like lost here. That's the problem with Japan. Everything looks so much alike. You're right. I was going the right way, and I just went the wrong way. So I'm actually going to go left here. If I can get around here without having an accident. Let's see, how can I double back around in a safe way? So I don't have any aspirations to be like a CEO or anything else except for launching companies. I want to launch companies. I'd rather I want to have a controlling interest. I'll fire the CEO if he's not doing the job to my satisfaction, right? So I'd be the chairman. And that's what, I want to be with my family. I was actually the first, when you asked me what I want to be 5 years from now, the first thing I did was I thought of my sons. Tommy will be 9, and Mike would be 7. And I was thinking, okay, where will they be, right? Because I'll ultimately be with them. Let's answer that. I'm not going to be leaving them anywhere. This way here. Look at these little houses they have in Japan. Look at that. The little houses right there. These little cubes. They live in such small houses. So I'm trying to think of other questions that you may have. What made you come up with the idea of, OIF and all of that? Well, that's a good question. I didn't realize until actually recently, very recently in fact, that I did my first Found Up. I didn't know it was a Found Up when I did the Southern Shakespeare Festival, right? I kind of developed the process, and I didn't have anyone helping me or telling me how to do it, right? I didn't have a manual on how do you do a Shakespeare festival? Here's your manual to do it, right? I didn't have any of that crap. I had to invent it along the way, and ultimately, in a way, that first process was my first version of the OIF process, of the process, and it wasn't a framework, it was just the process. And basically, and it's the same thing. I first, validated the idea, I went around talking to people saying, what do you think, what do you think, what do you think? And you know, everyone said, I like it, it's kind of cool, but you can't do it, and can is one of those words I just don't have in my vocabulary. You can't do it. What do you mean you can't do it? Why can't I do it? It's just a play in a park, for Christ's sake. I mean, how hard is that, right? See, one of the advantages that you have as someone doing something for the first time is ignorance. Ignorance of the process, ignorance of what it is that you're actually doing. So there's my alarm to pick up my boys. It's time for me to take off my CEO hat, put on my dad hat. And when I basically, from there, I'll kind of outline. From there, I would have stayed, but there was no money, and I wasn't going to keep raising money for myself, and the board couldn't pay me, right? I did one of the classic mistakes of an entrepreneur. I put together a board which didn't have money, but had a lot of goodwill, right? So the people I had on my board loved the fact that we did a Shakespeare festival and we're all goodwill, but there was only really 1-2 people on there with money. June, God bless her. She's moved on. She's with my friends and my ancestors. She's with them now, and Janet, who was married to one of those richest men in Florida, who now is divorced. And he, and at that time, he's still probably a multi-billionaire. So Don Hinkle, right? I'd love to, I may send a Don an email. And and from the Southern Shakespeare Festival, I went on and did my master's, and from then I launched a company called Genesis Productions. And my lesson learned there was I didn't really validate my idea there. I just kind of went off and said, well, if we're selling the product for $25,000 a month for these chambers and other things, then I can sell the product for $10,000 a month, right? And I was basically making. We were selling for $25,000, and I was making $4,000 a month. And I was thinking, well, that's a little unfair. I think I'm worth at least, $8,000. So I said, screw it. After and some other things happened with a client that I was working on. I didn't think it was right for them. My head always gets in the way. I think something, I do it. I have a bit of an ego in my head. So ultimately, that failed. Genesis Production failed, and then with that failure, I was actually it didn't matter. I was dating a woman at the time who was at NIST, so I was able to actually go and do another startup called the Digital Arena, and we did that classic startup. We leveraged the crap out of our friends and family. We got us screwed over all the loans we could get. This guy, what's your name? I can't remember the name. That's funny. I can't remember the co-founder's name, or actually the founder. Very smart guy. Made all his money selling mortgages. I wonder what he's doing now. We're actually linked up on Facebook. And ultimately, we had a prototype. We had customers, but we didn't have really a funding. We didn't really. We didn't really. These guys that were using us were playing games. We hadn't developed a funding model. I was part of that, trying to develop that and get that going. And we didn't have the right sales staff, and what we were doing was, and anyway, so that failed. But I developed an equity allocation idea there. That's where my initial equity allocation thing. After that, actually from that experience, I had Eduit was formed in that experience. Eduit was a nonprofit tied to that, And I took 4 years off. I mean, that was like from 2000, or 2 years off, 2002 to 2004. I just kind of worked day jobs. I mean, I was selling insurance. I was selling, you know, I did some mortgages. I was, you know, doing whatever it is, whatever I could do. You know, I was being a star when I was a creator. But I was a creator without the ability to be a creator. So if that makes any sense. So, and then when I came to Japan, for personal reasons, I was dating someone that didn't work out, broke my heart. I said, you know, I'm going to go to the other side of the world, away from her. And Japan seemed like a good place to go. So, you know, and then I basically, from 2006, I restarted Eduit, and I didn't restart. I mean, I kind of pulled it out and said, you know what, I wanted to do something with autonomous learning. I had an idea that I believe would completely change learning, and I spent a lot of time building the team. However, again, I didn't get the right folks, or I couldn't get the, you know, it was all like, well, we'll be part of your team, but we really don't know you, and, you know, and I was in Japan. What can you do in Japan, right? For it. Which ultimately led me to FoundUp. Sorry, to Wikitube. Wikitube, I'm yawning, sorry. Wikitube basically was a startup out of Eduit called Eduit U, which was going to be a for-profit component of Eduit, right? So ultimately, we couldn't get it going. So with Wikitube, I had all the different things that we had done were pretty much ripped off by YouTube, and at that point I was like, you motherfuckers, you know, Christ, you know, you can't do anything without just being bent over. And through my experience, you know, last year, I've got to know quite a few entrepreneurs. A lot of them dropped out. A lot of them just can't get there going. They peter out. So I don't know. It's a long 17-minute talk. That's it. I'm getting tired. I'm gonna listen to music. Thanks. Bye.